Ronit, I've made you a panelist.
Hi, Dale. How are you?
Great, buddy. How are you? So Steve just let go of the control of our television set, and it's time for Ronit to take over. You see the green box, buddy?
Got it. You see my screen?
Okay, here we go.
Um,
All right.
okay. So let's start something without markets, but things are corrected. So this is like light. So there is a saying that God said, "Let there be light." So what has light got to do with everything? So light has different colors. It always has frequencies. So it has wavelengths. So different kinds of wavelengths. So if there was a possibility in ancient books to roughly calculate what was the distance between the time light takes to reach Earth, right?
Okay.
So let's say velocity is distance by time. But there was a calculation which is close to NASA's speed of light, which is the velocity of light, which is nothing but 432 square. If you convert it into meters per second, it's something like 3 lakh meters per second. So now, how would have some ancient civilization conquered or got this without doing any great math? So this is the Indian god. They say he's the son of wind. He's called Hanuman. But there are similarities between civilizations. This is called the Monkey King in China. So they pray them or not? So let's go to the equation. So when he was actually very young, he thought that sun was a fruit. So this was an old verses which said that a Sanskrit saying that Yug Sahastra Yojan Parvanu, Liliu Tai Madhurfal Janu. So he thought that the sun is a fruit. So you wanted to grab it. But technically, you cannot fly to that particular area, right? Nobody can fly at. So what is one yuga? Yuga in ancient India or even today, it's said to be 12,000 years. One sahastra yuga, one sahastra is 1,000. So 12,000 and one yojan is 8 miles. So when you convert it, you get something like 96 to the power of 6 into 10 to the power of 6. So let's get back to the equation. So we know the velocity, we know the distance. Okay. So all you have to do is calculate 960 into 10 to the power of 5 divided by 432 square. You get 514 seconds. Now, what is so great about this, you might ask? Let's convert it into in minutes. So it takes 8.6 minutes to reach light to reach Earth. So we know that sun is the most important thing. Sun cycles, moon cycles, everything's correlated. So there goes your 8.6 frequency, which a lot of people have used. So this is actually just a picture to say that it is all about light frequencies, and that's what Nikola Tesla also talked about. So this is one more interesting. Why actually the Earth is actually tilted at exactly 23.4 degrees? So because we need seasons. If Earth was actually 90 degrees, we wouldn't have any seasons properly.
Interesting.
So let's say in mathematical terms, when people actually write about it, 666 and all, you actually subtract 90, exactly 23.4, you get 66 degrees. So it's related to the sun, basically, carbon molecule, sun. So this is the most interesting part. The Great Pyramid, it's actually a miniature form of 1 divided by 43,200 of the whole Earth. And that is what's so great about it. So it's actually like a time. So it's like 12 hours. If you convert 12 hours into seconds, you get 43,200 seconds. So that's like repetitive everywhere. So time is important. That's why every expert like W. Gann also talked about time is the critical part. Even if you see the distance between Earth, it's like 108 times. So 108 times, everybody knows it's a sacred number. 27 into 4, or you add 1 plus 8 is 9. So there is something.
If everybody knows, how is it the secret number?
Yeah. Everybody knows. Everybody uses 0.618, 1.618. But where do you apply? The question is that. So we'll come on to that. So I just wanted to start something new, which is close to markets. So let's deal with markets. Okay. So there are five elements to, just like earth, fire. I've chosen the Dow, the DXY, and bonds, gold, and commodities. So they are always juggling here and there, like a long shot. Somebody is long something, somebody is short. So correlation exists, but it's not the real reason for the causation. For example, you said dollar is going up, gold is going down, but rates are going up. But there could be a relation. Sometimes they could be correlated, sometimes they're not. So let's look at it. So it's something like an energy ball, just like our cells, right? Our cells interact with each other electrically. That's how they actually communicate with each other. So just like that, asset classes also communicate and they actually see who's doing what. Somebody's selling off bonds, they actually get into something else. This is mathematically done. So let's move on to, so I've taken the DXY as a controller of all these things because everybody borrows in dollars. So let's go on to the Dow. The Dow is actually still hitting that parallel. It has not gone anywhere, technically speaking, relatively, in the last 3 years after trade wars have started. So I've just given a level. So you can use this monthly pressure levels are something like 31,694. This is like monthly level. If there is a breakout, then what do? You can actually use it wisely. So let's move on to something technical. This is very short term. People can actually use this. If at any point of time the Dow breaks 30,600, that's it. There will be a deep sell-off in most asset classes all over the world. So let's go on to this Dow Gold ratio. So what is the Dow Gold ratio telling us? This is from 1920s. It's always actually gold or Dow has outperformed and underperformed in a way. So right now, gold has been underperforming for the last 9 months, somewhere, no, or it peaked out in August. So that's approximately 5 months. So somewhere around March 8th or March 15th, there could be a turnaround. So we'll see that at technical levels. So, so this is again, as I said, the Dow is actually related to DXY also. Some people said the dollar actually is rallying. But if the dollar is rallying, what's the Dow doing? Or if the Dow is doing this, what is Shanghai doing? Or Sensex is doing? So this is a monthly chart of this thing. It's forming that last wedge you can see over here. Will the dollar rally and will all the asset classes, just like the Dow, fail over here? So this is another pattern, but why would it fail? We'll come to that. The answer could be in commodities. So this is the dollar again. It just held that 89 level. Can you see it?
Yes. Yes.
So it's holding that level still. So even when treasuries are selling off, US treasuries have had the most violent correction these days. So I was actually posting some chart which said that the Dow into treasury bonds, if you're long Dow, so that's what is a portfolio, right? 60% bonds or 40% stocks. So if what happens if both sell off? No one knows. How do you hedge that? So 89.
And why can't they? They both went up together.
Exactly.
30 years, right?
I think it's more than 30 years. So it's something like 1987, 1985, 87. That was a very unique situation. 1931 was an unique. It's a very rare moment in time that both of them moved down. That means there is some worry that somebody is actually selling both of them and they're trying to actually capitalize on that. So let's look at plan A for the dollar.
Well, weren't they both liquidity crisis where it didn't matter what your asset was, you had to sell it to raise cash?
Exactly. So let's say the leverage is so bad that I had somebody asking me, they borrow against treasuries. So the leverage is so high that they have to return that money immediately. So they even in export-import markets, they actually exchange these LC contracts because they want to make a spread. So the treasury is like the safe asset, right? But what if it is selling off? So they're losing money. So they have to return that money or they have to make up in that particular currency. So maybe that's the reason dollar is rallying. So that's why it's held at 89. This is a very critical part. So the plan A is, if the dollar holds this level 89, what could be the higher level? So that means 120 minus 70, that's another 50 points from 100. It's the same thing. They stopped it in March, but could it do it again? Or plan B, where the dollar sells off and US market actually shoots up, and the dollar could actually break down around 85. And that's where the 2013 crisis in currencies, emerging market currencies, it's the same level,
85,
89. So
89,
89, 89.
89 is your line in the sand now in the dollar?
Yes, yes, yes. So you have to see not just the dollar, you have to see what the other currencies are doing,
Okay.
and why the euro is actually behaving the way it is. Normally, what happens is the euro sells off, gold actually could outperform. It was doing that in 2020, 2019 when things were bad. But I think that they are actually expecting certain, they're talking about this digital currency. The whole virus is all about the digital currency. So if people had to search back, why did gold rally in May 2019? It's because everybody wants to do, actually, even Christina Lagarde talked about digital currency and they want to move there. And the first important thing was that they had to get rid of Trump. But you could see that in live markets. Why? Because as soon as he lost on November 4th, all the soft commodities took off. And just before that, USD yuan actually started breaking down. We'll actually come to that. So this is again a technical thing where the levels are drawn. These are not horizontal lines. There is a code behind it which actually describes the lines. You can see 103 over there. You can see 98, and that's the barrier. You can see the volume over there. Could it go to 80? Sure, but it has to break that 89.9 or 85. So these are very accurate levels. So let's go on to next one. It's the same thing. Plan A, it starts rallying. Plan B, it does break down. You have to be prepared for both. How to swap. So this is again a technical view where it's weekly basis. It's actually getting bullish over here. Okay, this is very just only technical. So let's look at euro. Now the euro actually it could rally to something like 1.37. That is approximately 10-12%, which comes to around 80-ish in the DXY. But it has to break through that 1.22 barrier, where that's the yearly closing, last year's closing. So 1.22, that's your clue or cue that it's not breaking down. But if it is below that, that means sometime this year the European government will actually do something, and we'll look at this clue in gold too and crude. So this is the next chart. You can see the British pound. These are cycles inbuilt. You can see 1985, 1970s. Then there was a credit crisis. Then just before the Brexit, the line has actually reached and it's not gone up there. It could go to 1.5, but you got to understand if it breaks at any point in time this year, 1.36, that's a cue that there's something wrong. Till then, British pound will hold up. And this is another clue that crude oil is going up. So Brent, I think they sell crude, right? So yes, that could be a possibility. You could see that in Euro GBP. So now let's look at the three rates. This is the combined rates of US, Germany, and Britain, actually. So these are all climbing up together. So I've actually done an average of it. So cycle-wise, they're actually turning up. All you have to do is, if rates double, they'll start spiking again, doubling from here. So we have to watch the rates very carefully, because that's the clue. 2018, they stopped it and the Fed actually reversed so that others also reverse it. But as the RSI says, it's actually it's building strength. So that means it's tracking some commodity, which is actually, we'll come to that again. So now this is a very important chart. From 1981, this is US Treasuries. So what if they actually take interest rates negative? What is the timeline? That's the key question. So if that rates don't cross, let's say 1.5 to 2.5, then that means all the money will start gushing into US. It has to be bonds, right? So will that drives the interest rates negative. So the timeline for that is somewhere between March and June. You have to be very careful that 1.45 is the threshold. 1.45, 1.5. If it is above that, copper, gold, everything start rallying at that point. So everybody will think that it's inflation. Maybe it's not. Maybe they're scared of something to grab tangibles. So next one. This, I combined all the currencies. So let's say, let's assume that all the currencies are falling against the dollar, including the USD yen, risk off, right? So I've combined the index. You can see the breakdown in 2018 when we had the trade wars over here. It actually never breached those levels. It's still holding that level. It has breached. You have to see significant breach to justify a commodities rally or a dollar fall, but not yet. So let's move on to the next one.
Cool idea, Damien said, to combine them all. Very creative. Go ahead.
Okay. Thanks, Damien. So this is treasury bonds. So when did the dollar actually bonds started breaking down? It was November, December. So technically, if you go back in the chart, you can see USD CNY also started reversing 1 month, September, October. That means they knew what was going on, and they were actually all getting into soft commodities. So I've not mapped it over here, but you can actually check it. So let's go on to this 10-year rate. Is the same thing. Technical levels 2.36, 2.4. That's the breach line. I don't think it'll cross there. Something will hit it. So could it be crude or natural gas? We'll come on to that. This is again a technical picture. Now let's say that 1962 was a base. It took 12%. It went 12% high. So even if you say cup and handle kind of pattern, that 12% says minus 5%. You can see over here, somewhere around 7%. And 1990, September 1990 was when the Kuwait war happened. And at the same time, Greenspan actually cut the Fed funds rate, I think from 8% to 3%. And that's where the emerging market rally started for some reason. So that was the time, that's the breach, 1990 to 1991, when there was a Gulf War. Was it a Kuwait and a Gulf War?
Yes.
Right?
It was, it was Gulf War I.
Yeah. So we have to see what the rates will break. It could very well go to minus negative, but at what cost? So will the euro survive or not? This is the real question. So I'll fast forward to the rates. I'll actually move on to next. I've made it separately. Somebody wants to ask any question? Go ahead.
People want to know what your lottery number picks are.
What? No, I don't think so. Maybe I'll get there. But yeah, it could be possible. That's also a pattern, but I would buy it first. So I want to win a lottery too. Maybe, but that could be a pattern. You never know.
Okay.
So,
right.
but it's possible. But the question is, where is the manual? How do you actually pick it? We are looking at patterns. We are understanding them, but we don't know where to start with. There's no manual to it. So you have to do trial and error. Probably have to do that. So let's get into crude. This is the most, what could actually disrupt markets more than anything, or yields could spike. And that's crude oil. You can see that 59.60, it held very well. It is actually backtesting. It went to 63.5 and is backtesting. What if it could double from here or even go to $190? Even with a strong dollar. That means it's not a supply disruption. That means somebody is fearful that they will not be paid in dollars and they will actually devalue. So this is a clue. Not really. It could be because of seasonality or weather. I think we had the worst weather in US. How cold was it there?
Oh yeah, you mean with what happened in Texas and everything?
Yeah.
Minus 20 degrees in Texas, which is very unusual. And when you're talking about this with the oil and not taking dollars, that could be up to the Saudis, because they're the ones that said they'll only accept payments in dollars. So if they change, that could be a catalyst. If we lose the petrodollar currency status,
or it could be a war somewhere. Somebody triggers it off over there.
You mean a war? It could be a war.
Possible. Yes, it's possible, because if you really see the Dow chart, 1939, just before the problem started, somebody actually started selling the market. And then it recovered over there in 1940s. It took 2 or 3 years to actually recover. So most of the wars, if you really see, they start in June, July. So we
Interesting.
have to keep a watch on who's disrupting it. And that could be a reason that could it be China? I don't know. But could it be somewhere in the Saudi region? Syria has actually experienced some warmongering over there in recent times. We had
Yeah.
these Biden retracting
Yeah.
over there,
Yeah.
and then he's shutting the Alberta pipeline or something like that. It could be a trigger, but it need not be the cause. It could be a totally different cause, but it could be. We can
Okay.
give it a certain probability chance. So let's look at crude oil. So this is a confluence over here, $60, 63.6. That's where my quant model actually said that till it breaches, we are not sure. But if it breaches that, you can be very comfortable to target 81. That is, any energy stock will go to 81 or $100 very quickly. That's why most of the bets, if you see in zero hedge, they actually talked about $100 oil. Why would they do that? So that means they're actually anticipating something before that, and there is a lot of buying. So the volume actually gives away. You can see over there, it's
Yeah.
nicely taking out and it's extending, and it's not going below 58, even with a strong dollar. So $60 or 58, $8, they might be shaking everyone out. So you have to watch that level, and you got to watch natural gas. Anybody who's short term, this is for them. 58.8, that's where the signal is. 64, that's a breakout. So 85, it can be 100 in a matter of a month or maybe 2 months. That happened in 1990s Gulf War. It actually rallied 50% per month. So from $10 or something, Dell, were you trading over there?
I remember. Yeah. I don't remember the price charts, but I remember both gold and oil were rallying, bonds were selling off with the market, and the minute there were, Schwarzkopf gave the order, oil peaked, gold peaked, and bonds rallied with the market.
But what month was it? Any idea?
Yeah, it was in the summer, the build up to it. I think it
Somewhere
was.
around July, August. If
Yeah,
you want to
right.
do that. So, most of the wars, even the Kargil war in India, Pakistan, actually started in the summer. So they're very comfortable in the summer. Nobody wages a war in winter. Even
Yeah,
Napoleon.
it's like that in Afghanistan. They in the winter they, retreat to the mountains, and in spring they come out to fight again.
Yeah, can you see over here? June, July. There's a
Yeah.
pattern over here. Feb.
Oh,
It can be inversions also. So this is
okay.
crude oil. Went from what? $17 to $42. That was a shock. And that's why all the most East Asian economies opened up, and everybody said that it's because of the rates or something like that. There are different reasons. Even there was a person who said in your thing that Harshad Mehta was a big scamster in India. That's not true. He actually noticed that arbitrage. He pulled in that bond money and started pumping it in stock market. So if you really see that Chinese market in this period from 1990s to 1994, all the markets went up in Asia. And then when the Fed started, Greenspan started raising rates, something like 1 year, 300 bips raised, everything started collapsing till 1997, something like that. I just wanted to show that.
Okay.
So let's assume that last year, why did the crude oil go to minus 40 or something like that? Why not minus 60 or minus 20 or something like that? So
But there's some type
okay.
of resin geometric number.
Not a geometric numbers. Somebody was running a quant model and they expected this $20 not to breach. Can you see that circle? All you have to do is join 147 to this line and then draw a parallel line. You exactly get minus 39.75.
Wow.
So this was not. So these computers, they know something goes wrong, and if it is overpressed, they don't know what to do. So this is what happened in GameStop. It could happen in anything like oil. It could do the same thing on the upside. Can you see that $130? The breach
Yeah.
of 59.60?
So what are you thinking that sharply higher crude and energy prices will be the big surprise? Not that it's going up, but the magnitude of it.
Not only that, natural gas could be something like $17, which is unheard of. The 2006 hedge fund blow up was around $16. You can see over here the spike. Now it's
Yeah.
actually holding up very well. So that means natural gas, if everybody is going electric, why not buy natural gas or copper? That's why copper and crude both are rallying together. We'll look at that technically also. So can you see the
Okay.
breach over here? 2.86
See
is
it.
holding very well.
Yeah. What another great presentation, buddy. Very interesting. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. You
So
could keep going.
okay. So this is the chart of dollar by crude. Okay. So what if dollar actually could stay in the range of 90 to 97 and still crude oil goes to 130? And that's where you have to catch it. So let's say it has actually breached that yellow line. Can you see that?
Hmm. Yeah.
And it breached that was $53. Now, if 1.19 is actually the ratio of DXY to NYMEX, so let's say the dollar doesn't do anything. Most of the currencies don't move. Probably it's 90 to 95 range. So let's assume it's 91. 91 into 1.197 or divided by 1.197. How much is that? What's the immediate target? Oh, sorry. 197. 91 divided by 1.197. That's $76. So it's like $60. You get 30% just like that. And even if that breaches, so even say 91 divided by 0.75, that's $120. You can see that in 2014, it actually made that mark. It could be much higher, $190 also, but we don't know yet. So it has to breach that point, 75, 76. We'll come to that technically. Now, this is also a very interesting chart where you say if crude oil goes up and euro goes down, what's the breaching point, right? So if euro is like, let's say the breakout of crude oil is 63.5, and what should be the breakdown of euro? Somewhere around 54. So 1.1718. So that means with a falling euro, you could have a higher energy prices. They could actually blame it on the season, climate change, whatever, or they could say electric cars, but the cycles peak. You can see the cyclicality over there. 1984, 87, then there is a crash, Feb 2016, there's a pattern, right? So
Hmm.
the next pattern is what? May, June. So you have to watch crude oil, $60. That's very critical. Will they breach it or not? So this is the Dow. Okay. So I'll jump directly to Nasdaq. Now, what was so specific of Nasdaq from 1997 to 2000, where it tripled? It's the same pattern. 2016, Trump came in, it tripled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somewhere around 4,500, 43, 4,400. So it comes from 14,000. Here it was around 1,200. It went to 48, 5,000, something like that, 1,500. It's the same pattern. So if is it breaching? So why would it actually break? So this is again, you can see November 1990, where the whole episode happened, where the rates were cut down, right?
Yes.
And
That's interesting. Yeah.
now what I've done is I've calculated Nasdaq divided by dollar index. So that's also kind of peaking. So will the dollar rally and put pressure on Nasdaq stocks? That's possible. Many people say that dollar rally is good for Nasdaq stocks. Maybe it's the other way around. It changes. So let's look at Nasdaq in terms of crude. So that's falling. So let's assume that Nasdaq doesn't fall. So something like 14,000. So you can see my calculator, right?
Yep.
Let's assume that crude oil doesn't, they say that we are going to work from home and still the NASDAQ is same. So 14,000 divided by 144, you can say. That comes to around $97 crude oil. And yet it would actually be very undervalued. So if it is 12,000 NASDAQ, you go to 144, that's $83. So question is, somebody is short NASDAQ and long crude from last year, somewhere around August, September. So energy prices are going up. So let's move on to another logic. This is again Nasdaq to natural gas. This is the same pattern. Any breach, if there is an energy crisis, natural gas is needed for batteries. I don't think they're going to use wind and solar.
Right.
Let's go on to the next one. Now, this is crude oil divided by natural gas. So this is a very tricky part. What if actually is crude oil actually hits something like 100 and this ratio goes to something like divided by 8. This is the price of natural gas. So let's say 130 divided by 8. This should be the price of natural gas. So it makes sense that it could be a double top or something like that.
Okay.
So this is again ratio, but what if both are rallying? Can you see? This is crude oil into natural gas. So there's a breach and a breakout. Can you see that?
Yes.
So let's say it goes to 47 or something like that in the next year. I mean, this coming year. So what is 47.57 into square it divided by 130? That's $17.4. So it makes sense that both are rallying. You have to actually keep a watch on natural gas stocks. So we'll jump on to something gold. Meanwhile, you want to ask some questions?
I don't have any questions. I want to give people your Twitter handle so they could follow you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll quickly look at gold. So this is a technical where you asked me last time that it was 2 months back. Where do you see gold? I said 1860. Right. That's the breach. If it is not, then 104 USD yen would be crossed. It's more than 104 right now. So there is some pattern which is happening over here. So it could actually come here and spend 1608. Now, what's the ratio of, I've not done it, but what's the ratio of, let's say, if yen doesn't move over here due to some problem into 15, that should be the price you should be looking at. Somewhere around 1600, it could bottom out if it stays below 1734. So these levels, you can use it very easily positionally to actually position yourself. Let's look at same thing. This is a very short-term level, 1696. Next level is 1593. Moves next in $100. So it could be a good bookmark. Now let's look at M2 divided by gold. It's not breached that point, but that means it can actually breach. That means they have to significantly increase M2 to justify the rally. So that means if by chance gold reacts at 1600, then it would actually move 50% or even double from there. We'll look at the chart. Silver, somebody asked me, right? For the silver, somewhere around 26.45, that's your break even level. If you can target that, you can easily expect something like $40 doubling or tripling from here. We'll come on to the next chart. You can actually wisely use. So this is the cup and handle, Dale.
Yeah.
So that's 49. Next is 30. So how much is that? 49 minus 13 plus 29, 65. You can see that line, 65.
Yeah.
So 65 is very good. If you actually see 29, the momentum will pick up no matter what happens. That means everybody will think that inflation is out and rates are rising and we have to monitor at that level. But it could be purely because somebody is going to cancel the currency or something like that. They're going to do something. This is again, I combined gold and silver. So let's assume that right now it's around 214. So what if it has to reach something like 418 square it divided by $65, which we got, $2,700 gold. So that's like easy money. So I can rush through currencies if you give me some time. The dollar, I think I've explained over here.
Right.
Okay. So this is again quick run. Okay, I think I've done this, right?
Yeah.
I've not missed out anything. So yeah, so I think I'm done, but you can ask me certain questions. So if you
All
want,
right. Do you have anything on Bitcoin?
Okay, Bitcoin. Let me check it over here. I would say that stay out of it if it goes below 45,000. So let me check that. 1 minute. 1 minute. Um, 1 minute.
Okay. skip that
Yeah.
if you have it.
But I would say Bitcoin, you just be careful of 45,000. If you are
Okay, how about 45,000 Brock is his bull bear line. How
Yeah.
about rupee? And
Okay.
we'll wrap it.
I would say that if you can actually hold rupee above 74, you can target 81 to even 100. That depends on crude oil. If one moves, everything else will move. So you have to remember that. 73.5 is the range. I've not drawn the chart over here, but I can actually tell you verbally that 73.5. Wait, I'll actually check it over
Okay,
here. Yeah, I'm not prepared for that. So
that's okay. But you were prepared for a lot of very, like I said, esoteric, interesting.
I would say something. I'll show you something interesting before we end.
All right.
This is something called Nikolai Tesla
Okay.
cellular mitosis. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say you keep adding one, keep doubling it, right? 1, 2,
Yeah.
4, 8. The
Yeah.
number
Like
actually 1, 2, 4, 8.
COVID.
Exactly. It keeps repeating. So let's say
Yeah.
22 by 7. You know what is pi, right?
Yeah.
Do you see a similarity? 142,
Yeah.
857. 142, 857. Any number
Yeah.
divided by 7. That's why I was talking about light. Light has different factors. You can see the repetition. So
Oh,
the cellular mitosis, this can be used in markets, but that's the catch. That's proprietary, but you can work on it. So this kind of energy. Okay. So when you add actually 142875, this is what is called nakshatra. That is, they say that 360 degrees is divided into 27 nakshatra. 13 degrees, 13.3 degrees each. That means one circle goes around. But if you add 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 7 plus 5, that's 27. So if you even actually multiply that by 8, you get 216 into 2, 432. So that could be the frequency you would like to sing, and it could actually beautifully work well. So you can see this cellular mitosis. This is what is actually can be used in the market if you really wanted to work on even lottery tickets. So you can see 369, and this is like energy can never be destroyed. It can be neither created nor be destroyed, but it's always there around you. So be positive, and even if you have negativity, if you stay up, eat good food, I think you'll do fine.
well, what great life coach advice from you. So
Yeah.
is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it. But I could go on, but
I know you could. All right. Anyway, look, you got a great compliment because Brock is here every day. He's a very seasoned market guy, and he said spectacular work.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
yeah, so I want to thank you very much for coming here. DJ is saying smoke is coming out of his ears, but that was great. So you were a hit. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. If you need anything, you can actually pitch in. I just do it for because I love markets. So
Okay. And I put
if I don't know,
up your
I'll try to learn about it.
I put up your Twitter handle, so follow Ronit, and that's how you can reach him. And thank you, my trading warrior brother. It's really always mind blowing to have you. And I'm going to go outside and try and find my vortex, see if it's still there.
But sing in 432 hertz. So you could actually sing with the guitar. So
All right.
you could actually do this. You could actually go and see 432 hertz music guitaring. So you would find amazing stuff. Yeah, yeah.
All
Even
right.
there is a saying that even you hum, right? When you actually sing a song, somebody who's singing well, their frequency could be 432 hertz. So,
Huh. No wonder people love music.
yeah,
So
and no wonder everyone loves you because you always say amen, and you actually always put out the positive energy. So positive energy.
yeah, do what I say, not what I do.
Yes.
All right. So Sonny, I put out his here, I'll do it again to everyone. I'll put out his
Wait, I think
Twitter
I'll
handle.
behind you, so you can see
Okay.
behind.
And so there, thanks again, buddy. It was
Thanks.
really great.
Thanks, Dale.
And I appreciate it, and we'll have you back in June, okay?
Sure. Maybe that's a cycle.
Okay, everyone, Ronit,
Yes, sir.
and we'll see everyone tomorrow. Remember, don't just count your resonance, count your blessings, which
Count
I'm
your
sure
blessings.
are numbers too. And we'll see everyone tomorrow. Thank you. And Morning Edge is starting in a minute here, so I have to go.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.